Well, I hope you enjoyed that segment with Justin McFalls, who is the president of Queen City Plumbing, and his harrowing adventure, if you will, during the most massive hurricane in the Bahamas, Irma. Hit as a Category 5, direct hit to Turks and Caicos. But I want to take category, just say a few things about this young man and all of us in particular. Did you notice the words confidence in leadership? Did you notice the words preparation? And most of all, did you hear him say that the Lord Jesus spoke to him and gave him that settled peace that he and his family was going to be all right? Well, I wanted to take just a few minutes and tell you, because I would be amiss if I didn't use this platform that we have, this worldwide platform of media, to tell you that it's time for you to get prepared. I was reading in the Bible, Matthew 24, I believe it's verse 44. Jesus said, "Be ye also ready, for in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man cometh." And in that chapter, he's talking about being ready because of his soon return. I want to take 3 or 4 minutes and just ask you to really examine your heart and ask, if you were in that situation that Justin was in, where there was a hurricane coming that could spawn tornadoes. You're on an island that's less than the size of the city of Charlotte. You've got your 6 children and your wife, and you're hunkered down, sheltered in place with a massive hurricanes raging. Would you have the confidence to know that all is well? And if it went the other way and it was your time, would you be ready? Well, there's a date coming. September the 23rd is a date that will live on in infamy. It happens to be my birthday, by the way, but also because there is a miracle thing taking place. If you've a Bible study, Revelation chapter 12, I want to give you something. There's some signs to get ready. And that is that it says there is going to appear in the heavens a great wonder, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars, and she's going to be with child, travailing in pain, soon to be delivered. And then it says there's verse 3, that there was another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns coming. And a lot of times Bible scholars, and of course I've taught this in seminary, this is a story about Israel giving birth to the Messiah, and how that there was a great, this is before all of Revelation, and that's one interpretation. The second one could be that this is the great sign to get ready because Jesus is coming. Well, on September the 23rd of this year, believe it or not, this sign is going to be fulfilled. If you look up into the heavens, and remember in the scriptures, the Bible tells us that the sun, the moon, and the stars are for signs. They're for like flashing lights to tell us what to do. And of course, we know that Jesus, at his birth, they used the star of Bethlehem, to give the sign of the Messiah coming. And there's several other signs that it says to look up and see. Well, on September 23rd, the constellation that we know as Virgo, or in other words, the Virgin, will be there in the eastern sky, and above her will be the constellation Leo, the lion out of the tribe of Judah from which Jesus came. Never happened before. Won't happen again for many, many years. But at this time, when on September 23rd, it's going to line up with this constellation, the Virgin, just like it talks about in Revelation 12:1. And under her feet, where the foot of the constellation is, will be the moon. The moon will actually be there. She will be stomping or sitting on the moon. And right above her head will be our sun. Okay? And now this Leo always has between 9 and 10 stars in the constellation, but on that particular day, 3 planets will line up, and they will be a crown of 12 stars on the Virgin's head. So you've got the crown of 12 stars, you've got the sun above her, the moon beneath her feet, and that sounds good, but what about giving birth? Well, again, for the first time in a long time, but there is the planet Jupiter that is going around right where her uterus would be, and it appears that this planet will be coming through a revolution from her constellation out of her and around. Guess what? That's been going on for 9 months, and it's been circling inside of her, and now on September 23rd, it will come out of her, and so there will be a birth of a planet that will come forth. Now, is this a sign of the last days? Is this a sign that Jesus is coming? Well, I say yes, but you know what? Here's another interesting thing. As you line up not just one particular sign, this one of the Virgin, and appearing, as some scholars are calling it, the great sign in the skies on September 23rd. But it also happens to be not just my birthday, but it also happens to come during the last feast in the Jewish calendar. And there is something with, you've got the Feast of the Tabernacles, which is when Israel is all coming together and they're celebrating the harvest and looking for the harvest. But then also the Feast of the Trumpets occur. Now, we can't pinpoint a day for the Feast of the Trumpets, which is important because in Matthew 24 it said, "Be ye also ready, for in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man cometh." He wasn't saying that we couldn't know what season he was coming, but rather he was saying, I believe, I'm coming during the Feast of the Trumpets, and it may be on this day or this day or this day, but you can know I'm coming around that time. The Feast of the Trumpets is the only Jewish festival. And why so much about the Jewish? Because Jesus was Jewish. The Bible was written to the Jewish people. We as Christians, thank God, are saved by grace and engrafted into the Father, to the bosom of Abraham. But that doesn't mean that he thwarts his signs for Israel. During that time, the Feast of the Trumpets was the only one that was not date certain. Because what would happen is the rabbis would have to look in the sky and look for the sign of the new moon. And they could see that new moon on the 21st of September. They could see it on the 22nd of September, the 23rd of September, or maybe the 24th of September. In that time frame, as soon as they see the new moon in Israel, they're to blow the shofar, the trumpet. And they would blow a series of trumpets. And then the last trump will sound when the high priest sees the new moon in its certainty. Well, folks, that's exactly what Jesus is describing in Matthew chapter 24. That's exactly what is happening in Revelation 12. We're at a time in these last days when sometime in that time period, we've got the constellation on the 23rd, we've got the great sign occurring, and the Feast of the Trumpets is actually taking place during that time too. And guess what? After the delivery of the baby, a few days later, on October the 1st, is the first day of the Jewish calendar. So we know now that we've got the resurrection, if you will, coming. And so here's what I'm telling you. The signs of the times are upon us. You need to be prepared. You need to be prepared spiritually. You need to be prepared physically. You need to be prepared emotionally. Because if the Lord takes us out of here in a rapture like some people believe, then all is well. But are you rapture ready? Have you asked the Lord's forgiveness? Are you living in anticipation of that great day? And are you living a life that you attempt to live above reproach? That's the characteristic. He's coming for us, church without spot or wrinkle. Now, if you're saved, you're going to heaven. But only a few will make it in the rapture, and I'd like to see you be one of them. We've had a special show today about being prepared. You've heard the great heroic story of Justin McFalls and his family and how they made it through a Category 5 hurricane. And then I've talked to you about your spiritual preparation in the event that the Lord Jesus was to come back at any time. Be ye also ready, for in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man cometh. Well, this is Dr. J with the Dr. J Today Show, saying thank you so much for tuning our way. And we'll be back this time next week. And please, get ready, get ready, get ready. And don't forget, our producer is Fit. She's So Fly Productions. And we're here in the studios of WDRB Media and heard around the world on all the different stations. Until next week, God bless you.